I'm here with Finn. This is Finn. Yeah, she was in our puppy classes and she is full of beans. In this video, we're going to go over potty training, and in her case, remedial potty training. This is a tool that a lot of people, or more and more people are using to potty train their puppies. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't really like using a kennel. I use a kennel for kennel training, but not for potty training, but not like this. This basically has a partition, so the dog eventually walks through, comes in on this side, and usually that door would be closed. And the dog hangs out and sleeps here, and then when it has to potty, it goes through this hole and pees right here. Problem is now she won't poop anywhere but in here. And while we were doing this session, she actually came back in here, walked in there, and peed on that. So basically, we're going to go over remedial potty training. The Guardians don't use this for kenneling her, so I'm going to recommend to them that they just fold this sucker up and move it away. But before we do that, we want to work on what the tips we're going to cover here, because otherwise she probably will start having some accents. Now, the marker word that we're using for her is the word nice. So a marker word is a word that we use to identify when the dog does the thing that we want. So if she sits, let's see if I can do one real quick here. Come here. So I'm going to lure her into a sit. As soon as her butt is going, I say nice, and then I give her the treat. So the marker word comes the instant the dog does the action, unless the action has some duration to it, like potty. So for potty, a lot of times when our dog potties, we go potty, potty, go make a potty, go make a potty, 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 but the dog doesn't know what potty means. So it's out of context. And then sometimes we walk outside when the dog happened to need to potty. We say potty, the dog goes potty. We're like, my dog is so smart, it's potty trained. It's just coincidental, and that happens a lot. So what we want to do is we want to take her outside the 3 times that she's most likely to potty, which is going to be right after waking up, 3 minutes after eating, and about 10 minutes after playtime. So she gets in a really spirited playtime. Set your clock. Okay, it's 4:04. So at 4:14, we're going to take her out, come heck or high water. And so being in the right place, the right time is really beneficial. So what you want to do is, for a Westie, she has, when her tail's up and being a white dog, you can see her anus. And if you see that anus starting to kind of open up a little bit, you might know that she's going to poop. We would say the cue before she does it. Now, the cue is something you really don't want to use until you can reliably predict that your puppy's going to do the action, whatever it is, 90% success rate or better before we start incorporating a cue. So what I would do is the 3 times that she's most likely to go, so right after a meal, take her outside and then have some high-value treats. Don't tell her potty. We're just going to wait. And as soon as she starts to pee or poop, for puppies, we usually say as soon as they start, but for her, I would wait for her to conclude peeing or pooping. So as soon as she pees or poops, you're going to say your cue, or say your marker word, and then you're going to follow it up with a treat. Now, for here, what I might do is I might actually have you guys use this temporarily, because this already has the mechanics down of the pottying, just not the location we want, and not on cue. So what I might do is actually close both doors to this. And then when you hear her come in here with her. And if she's pawing at this thing, she's probably saying I have to potty. So then you would assign your new command cue, which could be, I say business for my dog. You can say plop or deposit or whatever the word is. I would recommend that you come up with a new one. If you've been saying potty the way you guys have, it's probably confused. So basically, so you say business and then open the door. She goes in there and she pees. When she gets done peeing, you say nice, and then you give her a treat. And you do this every meal, or every bowel movement for about a week to 10 days. After a week to 10 days, you should be able to say business, and she goes like this if she has to go. Then you would start taking her outside. Now, the problem is she will pee outside, but she won't poop outside. This is the only place she'll poop. Now, dogs' digestive tract is pretty consistent. Now, she is free-fed, which is something we do not recommend for dogs, because you never know when the poop is coming. Digestive tract for dogs is about 8 to 10 hours for solid food. So if I'm feeding her consistently and she eats at that time, or I dump the food and put the empty bowl back down, she doesn't eat until the next meal. After a while, as we get her a rhythm, we'll know within a half an hour or so window when she's going to poop. So if that's the case, then we can actually kind of orchestrate things, and maybe, okay, she's supposed to poop at 10:30 in the morning. So maybe at 10 o'clock, we give her, there's another little trick that we can do. We can add warm water to the dry kibble. Water goes through dogs in about 45 minutes. So then basically feed her, let her have some kibble with warm water, give her about 10, 15 minutes maybe on your lap, and then go to Memorial or go to a park or somewhere, and then take her for a long walk. And as soon as she starts to pee or poop, you say your marker word when she gets done with it, and then give her a treat. And I would have some very high value treats that she only gets for pottying. We want the dog to think this urine and feces is so valuable. I do it outside. My humans are giving me the best treat I've ever had. And because this is one of the primary issues, we want to use it exclusively for that. So maybe some beef liver or chicken liver, something that's very high value with the stink, and a meat treat. Now, let's say we take her outside, it's time for her to do business, and she sniffs around, she doesn't go. Pick her up, bring her inside, and keep her in your lap until she wiggles, or about 15 minutes. When she wiggles, she's probably saying, I got a potty, I remembered. She's a puppy, she doesn't really, her attention span's so small. So she comes in, she goes outside, she's distracted by the sights and sounds and smells, and she comes in and there's no distractions. Oh, I remember I have to potty, and then she runs in here and does her business. So if we load her up, we know when she's got to poop. So we've identified that window. It'll take you about a week to get in there by feeding her a regular time. And then about 45 minutes before that happens, we give her a meal with some hot water in it, like maybe about 2 or 3, for a dog her size, maybe about 2 ounces, 3 ounces. Not so hard at scalding, but the temperature of food is more important to dogs than the taste. And swirl the food around so it kind of makes like a stew. Then she drinks that water and eats the food. Then 45 minutes later, you're at a park. And so there's no kennel at the park. So eventually she's got to do her business, and you're ready. You have those super high value treats. You're watching her like a hawk. As soon as she finishes peeing, you say business, or excuse me, say nice, and give her the treat. If you can recognize she's about to start, usually sniff the ground in figure eights. Say business before she does it. But if you say business and she doesn't do it within a while, eventually that will make that not a great command cue. So I would just focus on marking it, but watching her mannerisms. And after a while, you'll start to figure out that's the move she makes before she's going to pee. That's the move she makes before she's going to poop. And I would have one word for both of them. So don't have one word for each one. And so eventually you see her doing the figure eights and sniffing the ground in the same area back and forth. You say business. She crouches down, she takes a poop. The first time she poops, I would give her what we call a jackpot. So as soon as she poops, give her like 5 treats. And just say nice, and then treat, 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 treat. And remember, once you say your marker word, there's no other word set for 5 seconds. And then I would probably get down the floor and on the ground and rub her belly, scratch her butt, rubber bind her ears, wherever she wants. Now, one thing you have to be careful of, and you can watch her back there right now, and I'll demonstrate this. When the dog starts to pee or poop, we usually go, nice! And if we do that while she's in the middle of peeing and pooping, she's going to stop peeing or pooping and come over to you saying, what are you so excited about? Are you going to give me a treat? So that's why when we say it, we just say business in a normal, casual tone of voice. I'm just ignoring this behavior because I don't want to reward jumping up. And so eventually, like I said, the dog is now motivated. If I pee or poop here, nothing happens. I pee or poop outside, I get the best treats ever. Or I pee outside, I get the best treats ever. If I poop outside, oh my God, it's the best stuff I've ever had. And then after a while, she starts to figure that out. She poops in here, and the best stuff never comes. And after doing this for about a week, so you can come in here and you can use this when she's coming in here, but you have the door closed so you know she's coming in here. So you can use this really, you're going to use this primarily for marking. You can assign the cue. There's a potential she could get a little confused at thinking that business means to potty in here. But we can sync it with the act as long as we don't do it for longer than a week or so. And then just keep on keeping this closed. And you hear her come in here, take her outside, and have those treats with you. Say your marker word when she completes. Then vouch down and give her that treat. And once you can recognize it, you start saying business or whatever the word is before she does the act. Right? Well, this is my buddy Finn. She's the only female Finn I've ever met. And these are some tips on how you can do some remedial potty training and get your dog peeing or pooping outside.